Guys, welcome to Chai Time. This is your host Gaurav, and today I'll be talking about the various kinds of payment scams that are out there in the market these days. Okay. So, if you guys want to know, in a general sense, how to prevent yourself from being scammed, you can go to the Technical Guruji's video. The link should be flashing on your screen right now. So, in this video, I'll talk about in specifics with the UPI scams. Well, not actually the scams, but how does the UPI payment flow actually works, and what does scammers actually exploit. Alright, so even before I begin, I want you guys to know how these scams begin at the first place, as in how these scams are initiated. So let's say you have some problem with some kind of service that you're using, broadband or mobile phone, postpaid, whatever. And then in order to file a complaint, you go to their Twitter page and you create a new post. So you should always send a DM to that particular page. But let's say you create a public post. You mention your phone number. Since that post is public, that is where the scammers get to know, okay, this particular person with this phone number is having some problem with their particular service. So they will call you on that phone number. They'll pretend to be from that particular customer care. That's how things begin. So that is how recently my brother got scammed. Not actually got scammed. He was smart enough to figure it out. Let's take an example. Let's consider there is a person named Mr. Ram. So Mr. Ram goes to a bank, opens a new bank account and downloads a UPI app, and then he tries to register on the app. So let's see the kind of security bits that Mr. Ram has. Mr. Ram has a mobile phone, his personal mobile phone. Mr. Ram has a SIM card. So SIM card basically represents the phone number that is associated with the bank account that Mr. Ram has just opened. Mr. Ram has got a debit card of the same account, a debit card pin, of course, and eventually Mr. Ram will also have a UPI pin. So how does all of this UPI thing work? All right, so let's say this is Mr. Ram's device. Mr. Ram has installed the UPI app. So this UPI app also has this NPCI bit. So NPCI is National Payment Corporation of India that has created this UPI framework. So there is some NPCI code that is running inside every UPI app that the UPI app has no control of. We have the bank or the NPCI. Well, it doesn't actually look like this. But yeah, so the bank needs to make sure that the phone number that Mr. Ram has mentioned in the bank account is the same phone number which this device is using currently. And there is no inherent way for the mobile app to get the phone number from the device in a reliable way. So what happens is an SMS is sent from this device to the bank's phone number with the device key. So this device key basically represents this particular physical device uniquely. So the bank gets to know that this device key is received from this particular phone number, which means that this phone number is actually indeed present on this device. So yeah, this device is authenticated, and whenever Mr. Ram tries to make a payment, the bank actually asks for the PIN, the UPI PIN. In case the UPI PIN is not generated, Mr. Ram actually has to enter his debit card details and the debit card PIN as well. So by now you might be wondering that this system is actually pretty secure, because there are a lot of bits here which are actually really private to the user, Mr. Ram in our case, be it the mobile phone, the SIM card, the debit card details, UPI PIN. So the overall system is really very secure, and it's very hard to break it. It's actually impossible. So let's see what scammers do. That is really sad that Mr. Ram got scammed, and what happened. All right, so let's see. So this is Mr. Ram's device. Regardless of the UPI app is running or not, let's forget that. So let's say Mr. Ram has a UPI app, but it is not running right now, and Mr. Ram posts some complaint on a Twitter page that my broadband is not working and you can call me on this number. The scammer calls Mr. Ram and tells him that you have to pay so and so to get it working. And Mr. Ram says, okay, I will pay. Now what scammer does is, so this is scammer's device. Scammer is having the UPI app. So the same SMS that is sent from the device to the bank, it is not sent automatically. The user actually has to click on send. So the scammer generates that SMS, but doesn't actually click send. The scammer just copies that device key and forwards the message to Mr. Ram and tells Mr. Ram, can you forward this SMS to this phone number? If you do so, only then you can make the payment, or some kind of backstory over there. And Mr. Ram actually does what he says. Mr. Ram forwards that SMS to the bank. And now what happens at the bank side? So the bank receives an SMS from Mr. Ram's phone number, and the device key is actually the scammer's device key. The bank now knows, okay, that Mr. Ram's phone number is present on the scammer's device, which is not the case. But yeah, that is what the bank thinks now. And what happens is the bank authenticates the scammer's device. And now when scammer tries to pay or tries to transfer money to his own bank account, the bank actually asks for the UPI pin. And scammer will again cook up some story to get the UPI pin out of Mr. Ram. Now this is the critical point where actually a lot of users who are on the call, who are already stressed, they actually don't notice and they just spit out the UPI pin. You should never do that. No, nah. So yeah, Mr. Ram shared the UPI pin and his bank account was doomed. I'm sorry, Mr. Ram. I feel for you. The other kind of fraud that I've seen is the collect request fraud. So there is this thing called collect request in UPI where you can effectively send a collect request to someone. So basically, if you have collect some money from somebody, you send them a collect request and then they pay that much amount to you. And what these scammers do is, so I'll give an example what happened with me. I was trying to sell a motorcycle. I posted on OLX and I mentioned some X amount over there, and a person calls me. He tried to negotiate and then he was like, okay, I am ready to pay. Then he asked me, are you on this UPI app? I told, yes, I am. He then told me that he's trying to send me 1 rupee and just make sure that I receive it. I said, okay. I got a notification on the app. I opened the app and I saw a collect request of 1 rupee. The other guy just tells me that, okay, I am sending you 1 rupee, just accept it. I told him that, why are you sending me collect request? Just pay 1 rupee to me if you want to pay. And that guy was like, just enter your UPI pin and you will receive the money. I was like, okay. Oh dear. Well, yeah, that's how scammers do what they do, which is actually really funny. Anyway, so before we get done with this video, I'll mention 2 things. If you lost your mobile phone, that particular guy can actually do nothing, because that guy doesn't have your UPI pin and doesn't have your debit card details as well. So if you lost your mobile phone, you're safe. Just make sure that you call your operator and ask them to just disable that SIM card altogether. And if you lost your phone and debit card together, then it might be a problem. In that case, the scammer, or actually who got your mobile phone and debit card, they don't know your UPI pin, but they do have the debit card. So they can actually log in on any UPI app and try to change the pin. And in order for anybody to change the pin, they just have to enter the debit card details. Now, since they have the debit card with them, they can actually create a new UPI pin. If you have lost your mobile phone and debit card together, make sure you just disable both of them as soon as possible. That is about it, and I'm done with the chai as well. Well, yeah, you know the drill. Like and subscribe, and also click on the bell icon if you want to see notifications for the upcoming videos. Alright, I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hey, I forgot one thing. I actually always forget it. So don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. That is actually very important, because as this might be one way that you are trying to help them save their money and time. Yeah.